This is probably gonna be the toughest decision. Well, I can't say toughest decision of my life, because if this was your toughest decision, then you never had the problems in your life, you would say, choosing between which bike to keep, which bike to build, or which bike is best. I mean, come on, not being ridiculous. But as bikes goes, yeah, I wanna confront these two and clarify a couple of things. I'm not gonna tell you what I've done on the T7, because I've got plenty of videos that explain exactly what this bike is, and it's actually the whole build is on YouTube, so everything is clear. Actually, I've done some improvements on it, which you won't believe it how much of a difference it made. I was supposed to do it a long time ago, and still haven't done it. Well, I've done it last night at my home. I removed the huge rises that Boano supplies with the kit. Because again, the standard Boano kit has to fit a standard T7, and a T7 has a big fuel tank here, which obviously the bars and the riser, they have to clear it when you turn, so they have to be so high. But this is something I wanted to do for a long time, and I haven't, and now I did. And I removed them, and I put some YZ450 ones, as low as you can get. And I'll tell you something, this is fantastic. I don't know why I haven't done it so far. I feel stupid about it. Just the bike feels more of a dirt bike. It's the riding position, actually it gets close to the 690, which we get to that in a second. So, oh, this is what are you doing there? Come back here, you prick. There you go, this is where it's supposed to be. Because you can't even clean these things. With the standard fork guards, you can't even clean them. So, useless. Anyways, I feel stupid not having done enough for that. I'm really eager to test the bike off-road. The problem is, my wife, I don't know if I can say training my wife. It's not a dog, I'm not training my wife. But she's learning how to ride a motorcycle now, and she has got a little 125, which is not really off-road bike, kind of, but not really. And she gets bored of it. She gets actually good on it very quickly, and she needs something bigger. So I promise her I'm gonna use that, and she's gonna jump on my Husky 350. But once we off-road, because on the road, it's a bit risky. She shouldn't ride the big bike at all, because it doesn't have the license yet, but she needs to practice. So we're going green laning, and we know some of the paths on the green lanes there, a lot of, you can see far ahead, there's no one there. She jumps on a bigger bike and she trains it, and she obviously not trains, learns how to ride a bigger bike. Just get comfortable with it before taking the tests, which makes sense. But I promise her she's going to do it on a 350. I can't just bring the T7 now for her to test. Although you wouldn't believe the T7 on the kind of easier terrain is actually easier to ride than the 350. Doesn't matter for now. However, I would like to test it, but I can't convince her to jump on a T7 straight away. I don't know, why not? I don't know. We'll see. Maybe. We'll see. Anyways, so I waited the T7 today, finally, and again, and I made a video, and I had a crane here, and I've done everything. That's why I remove everything. I remove my tools, I remove my spare lever, I remove my tubes and tools to remove the tubes and tires and etc. to weight it up. And I have about 12-13 liters in the fuel tank. I made a video, and for some reason the camera decided on my phone to go out of focus, so I've lost that video. Well, I cancelled because it was shit. I'm not going to do it again. I don't have the time. I need to work and trying to make this video as quick as possible, so can't be fucked really. I'm going to just tell you how much this weight. Exactly as it is now. So with these bags on, with the compressor, with the naphtha, with the smaller light, these are much lighter than this one. This one is much better, but it's heavier. With the titanium Acron, could potentially lose about another kilo or two on the bike. Anyways, the bike now, as you see it now, weighs 175 kilograms without the fuel. Could be kilogram less or more, because I know roughly it's 12-13 liters of fuel in there. 12 or 13, I don't know, 13 and a half. God knows, 12, 13. So it's roughly, so you get 175 kilograms dry without the fuel. So yeah, it's pretty light for 87, blah, blah, you know the drill. Now, what's happening with this? I fell in love with this bike. I've tested off-road fair enough, like long enough to understand how the bike works, and I'm loving it. It's great. It rides awesome. It's in between a dirt bike and a T7 in original form, not this one. This is not a fair comparison. This is full race bike. This is not. This has rally rate fuel tanks, as for, well, they used to rally these bikes, adventure rally, because it has the full naphtha and everything. Not this one. I remove all the plastics. I got everything from the kit as it comes, which is a lot of bits, and it was quite a lot of money. I removed it because I don't want to ruin it. I want to test the bike, and I put my navigation tab from my Husky 350, which didn't work on a 350, but works on this, and I'm loving it. Now I'm selling the bike. Now, well, okay, if you're loving the bike, why are you selling the bike? Well, because I can't keep everything. First of all. Second of all, because this bike, I haven't bought it. I swapped this bike from my old 750, and the bike was for sale because I didn't use it. So if I'm selling the bike, I'm selling the bike, but I took the occasion, I say, or the opportunity to test this platform, because I was curious how the 690 platform or Husky 701, or now even Gas is 700 works. Now, as I've done it, the bike is for sale. Now, the bike came with me with a couple of issues. Mostly, I find out the issues actually were not issues. It was just not knowing the bike. Now I do. There were no issues. I fixed everything. Actually, in the process, I've checked everything. So I've done the fuel pump. I plugged actually the fuel tanks, which they were not plugged. I cleaned and sorted a couple of little things. Now it's spot on. I removed the in-tank fuel filter, which I think is very stupid from KTM to put the fuel filter, which you're supposed to change, inside the fuel. Why? Fuel pump, yes, because it needs to be cooling down. You cool it down with the fuel, and but all the rest not needed. So I removed that. I modified it. I put a very good, much better quality fuel filter before the injector. Injector turns out to clogged out a couple of times, well, more than a couple of times, 3 times actually. So I've changed it with a genuine KTM one. It's spot on, it's perfect now. It's got a lot of things, a lot of blink, pegs, and Touratech seat, very comfortable, panniers. I also have a massive panniers for the travel that they bought to the foot pegs and everything, with the rest of the kit. The bike is awesome. It's scared out. There's a lot of stuff. You can travel with it. You can race with it. I've done the forks because they were leaking, so I would rebuild the forks with the good stuff: SKF seals, bushes, and bushes, and the good oil. I've changed the oil for the good one. I've changed the brand new clutch. Didn't like the clutch, the way it worked. I find out you can actually kind of adjust them. Let's just say this way. Now it's absolutely perfect. I love it. The bike is spot on. I fell in love with it. It rides great. Brakes are amazing. But I have to sell it because, again, it replaces the bike that was for sale originally. The only thing now it messes with my head, because I think that in some regards this bike is better than the T7, but not in all regards. I don't know. Let's get to it. So, if I gonna continue to build something on this platform, it's gonna be on the newest bike, and the only reason is because almost doesn't make any sense, because this is a fresh engine. This is 2010 model, but the engine is quite fresh. But the whole bike is low mileage, only 16,000 miles. And I think that's true because when I replace the clutch, I can inspect the engine inside, the clutch basket and everything, and everything looks very, very little wear. So I am inclined to believe this is such a little mileage, and the bike actually hasn't been abused, hasn't been taken care of as it should be. But I done that, and now is great. It's good. Now, why do I want to do? If I build something on this platform on the newest bike, well, because quite simply, if I'm gonna start spending money on suspensions and my stuff and probably building something stupid as my usual, then after my own one, I want to do it on the newest platform because it's fresher. It just makes sense. The newest engine vibrate a little less, they have a little bit more power, they're just slightly better. So I want to start with a platform that is slightly better. Yes, they do have more electronics, traction controls and ABS, but it's me. I'm going to remove all of that crap anyway. So let's compare the two bikes together. You can't compare the T7 to the 690. However, you can start comparing them, that T7, because that is a race-ready T7. Tons of money spent on that, proper suspensions, obviously prototype, fuel tank is not where it's supposed to be. Fun enough, the seat is actually KTM 690. Newest model on this. This seat is much more comfortable. But this is 500 quid, nearly 500 quid seat, Touratech. So no wonder it's more comfortable. However, also, that being said, it's not a fair comparison because that is for your race bike, spend a lot of money on it, and this is not. Now, the biggest difference is what you feel ready. Obviously, the weight. However, again, that is 175 kilograms, and this is 140 kilograms. So the difference is not as big as on the standard T7 because this is lighter. However, you do feel the weight. T7 now carries the weight quite well, very well actually I would say, because it's distributed differently, the fuel is under the seat, helps a lot, and also you can move on the seat as much as you can move on a 690, because actually it's very similar. You see the seat is there and the fuel is under your ass. The seat is there and the fuel is under your ass. Okay, you have the added fuel tanks, but let's forget about that now. Not now. So I kind of trying to make the T7 like a 690 because I like it that solution. So now I have a 690 and see what the difference are. The big difference is the wheelbase. I don't know if you can see it from the picture, you probably can't, but that is shorter, quite a lot of shorter, and you can feel it. You can feel it when you have to pull the wheelies. I'm not talking wheelies about when you have to, be a hooligan, which again, yeah. But when you have to pop the front wheel to pass through the paddles, to pass through on top of the logs, for example, some obstacles that you want to just, hit just with the back wheel instead of front wheel as well. So this is easier bike to do it. T7, especially in this form, still does it, and it does it pretty well. But I would lie if I would say that 690 it isn't easier in that regards. In the woods, T7 will defend herself very good, but in the woods, the 690 probably would do better because even now in this form, T7 is still heavy. I think weighted down one, and that is about 140 kilograms. I think these old ones, they weight slightly less than new ones because ABS, all the systems, all the crap they added up, which you can remove probably. So it's 140 kilograms, 175. You got 35 kilograms more. Do you feel it? Yes, you feel it. And again, the bike is longer. The weight is there, so you have to lift additional 35 kilograms, and it's longer, so there is a longer leverage to lift. That is a shorter leverage and less weight to lift. So that handles, in our regards, better. Also, what's better on a 690 is this. Is how narrow the motorcycle is. I love it. This is, back wheel. You see where the pegs are compared to the back wheel. Let's see if I can do it on my T7. The bike is, the engine is narrow. Even though people complain about the clutch sticking up, I don't find that an issue. Honestly, I don't at all. T7 doesn't have the clutch there. It's much higher. Let me see if I can show you. Compared to the back wheel where the pegs are, you see, maybe with that shot, it's quite wider, and also with your boot you're catching this. So let me put my phone here. I want to show you something. That should be okay. So on this, when I'm sitting, my position, so this distance is exactly the same. Seat height is exactly the same from the floor and from the pegs, so that's same stuff. However, because the bike is wider, but wider on the bottom, on the legs, not here, because this is here now is very slim. It's very slim, maybe even more, less slim than that, but very close. So your knees are here, but your legs are spread out. So your legs do kind of this and then down wide. If these were a bit more narrower, my joints, my hips and my knees will be in much more natural position. Which now, this is very strange, but this is a road bike compared to the 690. It rides like a Lexus. Gravel roads, fast off-road, tarmac, motorway, this is just fabulous. You can't even compare them to the 690. 690 we still do it. It wobbles on the front for different reasons. It's not very stable on the road. Off-road, I've tested about up to 60 and it changes. It's not like it's quite stable. It's more stable on off-road than on the road for some reason. And I liked it. I've tested this to a few times to almost 100 miles an hour in a race. Sketchy terrain, very stable. That I haven't tested, I cannot say anything. I don't feel be as stable, as forgiving as this because of the length of the wheelbase. This is much longer than a motorcycle, so kind of fast pace, rally racing on a fast sections, this probably is better. But again, haven't tested that one. I can't confirm this. I just imagine. However, the bike itself is a Lexus. It takes you home. It takes you for a ride. It's just a pleasure. One hand is just flies. Because of the legs position, that is more comfortable in this regard. I don't know why. Well, I know why, but it is. This is very surprising. The bars on a T7, from the pegs to here, they slightly more raised down on T7 again, even though this modification has been done. But it's about 50 millimeter foot away from the pegs. So it's kind of be more relaxed of the position, standing and sitting down. So the rest of the position, everything, this is more comfortable. But even sitting on the bike right now, I feel my hip. Now, usually I don't have these problems, but lately I wasn't riding. I'm not doing any exercises. I'm not doing boxing anymore. I'm doing nothing. I'm just working. And sometimes we go out the bikes, but very, very little recently. So my hips are getting tighter. I'm getting older now. So, you know, if I was 20, I wouldn't even notice this. But now I do notice that hip actually now hurts me a little. Again, is my issue, is my problem. I can fix it with my exercising and I'll be fine. But I have to notice this and report it. When I sit on a 690, none of that is an issue. Now the 690 on the motorway, it wobbles. There's nothing to say that it wobbles. It's not stable. My 350 feels more stable or as stable as this, which you will think heavy bike slightly longer than a dirt bike, and the FX 350 will be more stable on the road, but it's not. Is a deal breaker? No, it is not. It's still manageable. To make a comparison, if I was keeping it, well, not keeping this, but if I'm gonna build a 690 platform, I'm probably gonna get myself a set of supermoto wheels, 17s, to use as a daily to go to work. Because of this motor, because they live longer, it's not a dirt bike, you know, they build for more longevity. You can use it as a daily. I will use it as a daily, but we have to put the supermoto wheels to improve the handling on the road. You can handle on dirt bikes on these wheels, yes you can, but compared to 7, even now I have 50/50 wheels and this thing is fantastic on the road. If you put road tires and you keep the same size of wheels, so 21 and 18, honestly this bike handles like a supermoto almost, but it's heavy obviously. 690 once with the supermoto wheels, it will be hooligan's bike. Everyone knows this. So, but yeah, it's more sensitive to tires. T7 is less sensitive. So, long journey on off-road tires. T7, you know, is very, very stable. Is Lexus like riding on the road. Not very important, but there you go, there's a comparison. Is a deal breaker on a 690? Absolutely not. I can ride this all day. If you said can you ride it to Spain, from here to Spain? Yeah, absolutely. And actually, it ties my hips less, again, for that personal reason. It's now, let's talk about the massive elephant in the room, reliability. Yeah, I don't know. Everyone says they are unreliable. However, I think that about 70-80% of that reliability comes to poor maintenance. People now expecting everything to be as good as Yamaha's, because that's an iconic motorcycle for the reliability, okay? All the Yamahas, not the Justice 7, almost all of them. Now, that being said, KTM is getting better and better with the reliability stuff. KTM, Husqvarna, Gas, all that stuff. It's the same shit. However, these are high performance motorcycles. All right, you got a single cylinder, is lighter, is as powerful as a T7, blah blah, is higher compression motor, tolerances are tighter, are different. Sorry, looser actually. So they have to pump more power from a smaller platform. Obviously, it will have to be more performance-like motor and the whole bike. Also, in that case, your maintenance will have to be high performance, period. And I've seen a lot of people complain about a lot of stuff, but do your high maintenance? You know, and it doesn't come with changing just the oil. It comes to, for example, the stuff that goes wrong on them, fuel pumps. Well, change the fuel pump before it goes. They go on mileage, they go on hours. If they last, 15,000 miles, change it at 12. No problems. Put an aftermarket better ones. There you go, no problems. Once you know this and you're able to do this stuff, I don't think that's a problem. Injectors. Don't just replace the injector when it clogs out, like I did. Change the injector, but also fix the problem that was in the first place that actually caused the injector to be clogged. Put a better fuel filter, so injector wouldn't clog anymore, I think. There's a reason why these bikes don't have clogged injectors. It's the same injector. I mean, that bike doesn't have any better injectors than this. You know, if you have any crap going into injector, that will clog out. This will clog out exactly the same. Prevent it. There are ways to prevent it. Do it. Quite simple. Now, other thing, rocker arms. I think now they have improved rocker arms. However, let's say you have the semi-shitty rocker arms from 15 years ago. Let's say they go at 20,000 miles. Replace it at 15. Now, there is a big difference between this motorcycle, which is mega reliable, and this, which apparently is not reliable, which again, I'm questioning this, or questioning the amount of unreliability. So, rocker arms, or clutch, or anything. This is probably one of the easiest motorcycles to work I've ever experienced. I absolutely love it. For me, because I like to work on my bikes, this is heaven. This is awesome. To me, for example, these fuel tanks. 2 screws, 2 bolts, and honestly, I can remove it within 15 seconds, 20 seconds stop, each one. Remove the seat, remove these fuel tanks, and remove the airbox, which takes another 3 minutes. And you on the engine cover. Engine cover, 4 bolts, remove it. There is your rocker arm, and you can check it. If you have to replace it, it's probably going to take you half an hour. Maybe even less than that if you know what you're doing. So even if you're not mechanically minded, get into it. There's a lot of videos on YouTube, and you can do it yourself. Obviously, if you're going to take the bike to main dealer, then they're going to modify anything on the bike to make it more reliable. They're just going to replace the parts that are broken, and sometimes even if they diagnose that, they're going to replace million parts before they get the right one. It's going to cost you $1 million, and you're going to complain about, yeah, I understand. But to people who actually work on the bikes saying these are unreliable, I don't know. I really don't. This is apparently the less reliable. This is the 2010 model with 2 ECUs. I'm comfortable with this bike. I know I haven't had it for years, etc., but I've seen how this is built. I've studied the bike. Now it has no problems whatsoever, neither with the clutch. I've fixed a lot of stuff, and I've done it the way it's supposed to be, I think. And it's marvelous. It's spot on. It's really good, and I enjoy it. Actually, I love the way it rides. It's a bike for everything. And again, coming back to the reliability, I don't think they are unreliable if you maintain them in a good way. Again, just more than normal oil services. Again, if you want to be lazy, you can't be fucked with that stuff, you're not mechanically minded, of course that is a solution, period. There is not a single T7 fuel pump that has gone wrong. There is not a single T7 injector has gone wrong, or the clutch, or the gearbox, or the gear selector has gone down. The gear selector on that is awful, is bad, is a bad position, is a bad selector. However, there are ways to improve it, to make it decent. Maybe not as good as an T7, but decent enough, you're not thinking about it as a problem. Period. So yeah, this doesn't have any issues. It will not have any issues for the next 100, 150, 200,000 miles. People actually did 200,000 miles already on this without opening the engine. Travel use, not competition, so not even fair comparison. I don't think you can do stuff on this. However, because the bike is so for pretty much everything, you can do motorway, you can do road, you can do green lanes, you can do off-road, you can do racing, you can do rallies. So you can do on a T7, don't take me wrong. And T7 in some regards are actually better than this. But this is kind of better a little bit everywhere. It's not shining in one thing. Maybe rally racing, long distance rally racing, when it's not as light as a dirt bike, but be more reliable maybe. Because again, service internals and more power. Oh, the power of this thing is fantastic. You know, the explosive mid-range engine characteristics is like, honestly, it's worth working on the engine sometimes, changing our rocker arms for that engine characteristics, you know, is fabulous. Is a pleasure to ride? No, that is much more pleasure, but this is more exciting. That is exciting if you want to be. This is exciting regardless if you want it or not. It's a fantastic bike, and the more I talk about it, the more I want to build one on the newest platform. Please buy this bike, or share it with your friends. Whoever wants to buy it. It's fantastic now. It's good. It's got loads of stuff on it. It's worth every single penny I'm asking for it. I'll leave there my NAFTA, and it comes with the rest of the kit, which is all beautiful. Just needs new stickers. Now the question: would I sell my T7 in order to get a 690? Oh God. I spent about over 50, well, okay, with some arrows and panniers and stuff that is actually on the bike, I spent about 15 grand on top of the bike, so about 25 and everything to get there, which is stupid. But this is, remember, this is my work. I wanted to achieve something that wasn't built for the purpose. I wanted T7 to be fully rally bike, and it is. It's fabulous. I mean, so when I've done a couple of some rally racing in UK, Switzerland Baja racing, again, not very difficult, but speed. Some of they say technical stuff, but wasn't really. I won a few races, and it isn't because I'm good at this. It's because of the motorcycle mostly. Okay, I was riding bikes most of my life, blah blah, but never in this discipline. I was riding road bikes, and we all know how shitty you are as a rider when you transition from road bikes to off-road bikes. It's valid for me as well. I've took some lessons with Lee, and yes, I learned something, but I never had the same experience that people were racing against with 12, 13, 14 lifetime experience in enduro racing. And yet, I won a few races. And the bike has a lot to say about it. Majority of, well, maybe not majority, but a lot of that was because of the motorcycle. So it really is efficient, it really is good. You know, when they shouldn't be as good, they really are. And so that's awesome. Don't know, would I sell it to build one of these? I really don't know. Let me know what you think, because I am double-minded. Every time I ride this bike, I love it. Now, will I prefer to take this T7 to a trip to Morocco or Spain or somewhere? I don't know. This is so much fun. But also is this. The only thing is this is 175 kilograms plus fuel, is 185 at least. This 145 with fuel, 100, let's say 150 with fuel. Yeah, it's quite a difference. When the bike falls on top of you, 20, 30, 40 kilograms of difference could be, the barrier between, you're not lifting that and you're lifting this. In a good case scenario, you're lifting that, both of them, no problems. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I am intrigued. I'm in love with this platform. I definitely want to build another one. I wish I could have the money to build one of these before selling it to 7 and have one, live with one for a bit longer, do a couple of races, and then do the comparison and choose one of the two. Because now the battle is quite tight. That is full race bike. This is not. If you replace the suspension on this, they are pretty damn close. And but this seems to be a little bit easier to ride in woods. Be more fun? Maybe. That one looks cooler, sounds cooler, but this isn't shy on that regard too. I don't know. I really don't know. That is very special. It's custom made, the only one in the world. There's another one that GP Mucci built, which is the only one in the world. So there's two of them. They're different, but again, completely custom, which is obviously add the value of what you're riding and the smile on your face. But I don't know. What do you think? What would you choose? This one has to be sold anyway, because again, if I'm building one on a new platform. So, but problems to have in life. Anyways, thank you. I'll see you soon.